You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Williams. Hope you had a great week last week as we navigated this grand water trine, some other transits. And it looks like we're going to continue with that water trine that began to unfold for us and all the emotions that may have come up. So, yeah, I want y'all to come on in, sit on down. If you have a long drive, this is the perfect episode because this is going to be something a little different. Sit by the campfire and talk with me because I got a story for y'all today. It's really a prophetic dream that I woke up to this morning that tied the transits in for me kind of nicely. And I wanted to share it with you. But first, I want to talk about the transits of the week just to get that up and running so we can know what energies that we are coming into for the week, and you are more than welcome. And I hope that you stick around for this crazy prophetic dream that I had. It's pretty cool. So much fun. So let's get into it. Tuesday, October 28th, we are going to have Mars in Scorpio trine Jupiter in Cancer. This is a super positive transit. This is good for thought work, green light to do something that nurtures our passions and experience a blessing or reward from it, whether that be financial or spiritual. This is really good for digging up stories of the past. We could be in conversations or situations or even altercations that we walk away from with some type of deeper, profound perspective or wisdom. So it's just a really good transit to start the week off with and to integrate some type of past experience or thought into our present experience and let that shape up quite beautifully for us in some way. So Wednesday, we have quite a few transits to talk about. October 29th. The first one is going to happen about 4 o'clock in the morning. We have Mercury in Scorpio trining Neptune retrograde in Pisces at 29 degrees. So this is a graduation degree. This is Mercury's final hoorah in Scorpio, digging up all the tea and all the dirt and excavating things before it goes into Sagittarius. And this transit is also pretty nice. It brings about divine messages and downloads. We can receive these encrypted messages on Instagram, intuitive messages coming in dreams like I had. The veil is certainly thin this week, which it always seems to be around the week of like Halloween and Samhain and, other holidays. I think Dias des Muertos. I hope I said that right. This is, a time where we are in a darker half of the year. We're communicating with, God, the spirit realm, our ancestors, and we can feel especially sensitive to the senses beyond the five. We can feel compassionate and empathetic, but also anxious, wanting to escape. There are these emotions or sensations kind of brewing beneath the surface, and we're not quite sure what to make of them. They feel a little intense or just a little like, I don't know, they just feel a little irritating to me. I could see people wanting to really step out of that experience. We could find ourselves doom scrolling and overindulging. Someone could be wanting to drink more or, dabble into some mind altering substances, but also wanting to soothe our emotional world with some kind of creative outlet or music or art or something like that. Mercury trine Neptune can facilitate the dissolving of old mindsets as we experience new things and come in contact with new perspectives. There is a peeling back of more layers in some type of way. Also, just a good time to feel good. Mercury then enters the sign of Sagittarius, where Mercury is said to be in his detriment because Sagittarius is opposite from Mercury's home sign, Gemini, and does things different than Gemini likes to do things. When Mercury is in Sagittarius, we could feel ready to integrate a lot of thoughts and realizations that we have come into contact with in Scorpio season. We could be searching for deeper meanings and how, these emotional awarenesses and realizations play into the bigger picture of something. This could be us on a quest for a new story that involves That involves new experiences of the world, new adventures, more freedom, because the divine is inviting us to disconnect from our firsthand experiences and tune into the deeper messages that could be unfolding for us. We also want to be careful with travel when Mercury is opposing Uranus. Be careful, with crazy drivers, but be careful with air travel. Double check, that you have the right flight. Just double check that things are going to take off smoothly as far as flights and TSA and government stuff. Just be sure you have travel insurance and make sure you get all your documents and all the things to prove that you are who you say you are. October 30th, Mercury in Sagittarius will then sextile Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree and 26 minutes. This is new energy, new and enlightened ideas, transformational ideas and outlooks, deeper insights to the people who are supporting us, the tribes that we're connecting to, and how something is really going to work out. We have Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces coming into a trine with each other as well. And these are the rulers of these two planets that are in a sextile with each other. So there is wise support, wise counsel here, and increased ability to see something and make long-term efforts for that. And also just realizing that something that's not working and letting that fall, letting it crumble, but also, really connecting with our hearts, connecting to God and feeling like the thing that we're building is here for the long term. So we're building long-term platforms and things that are endeavors that are authentic to who we really are and what we really want to contribute to the world. And that is all I have for the transits this week. If you want to stick around, we're about to get into a dream. Okay, so dream time. Okay, peep the scene. So last night, y'all, I had a dream. Oh, Martin Luther King Jr. had that. No, but I had a dream last night. And if you know me personally, you know that I dream cinematic movies. Like I have a very vivid dream life. I'm even planning to write a book about my dreams because they're very rich in symbolism. So I had this dream that I was driving home from work. I had Issa in the back seat, so I don't know where I was, what work I was doing, but I was driving home from work. My husband James called me and said, "Hey, we're going on a double date. It's me and my brother and you and his wife, and we're going to be leaving at this time. I got the kids set up. Your mom's going to watch him. It's a date." I'm like, "What? We're going on a date? We're going to be outside? Okay, cool." So he told us what time we were leaving. I hopped off the phone, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to get something to wear. I don't have anything to wear, even though, of course, I have something to wear. I mean, this is just women's math, though. I mean, if you know, you know, when we're going somewhere, we feel like we need something new to wear." So I make a beeline to the mall. So in my dream, this mall is crazy. So I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm from Southwest A-Leaf, Houston, Texas. And if you are from the Southwest of Houston, or even if you're not, you may know of the old mall, Westwood Mall. It's off of Bissonnette, I think at 59, West Oaks Mall off of Highway 6 in Richmond, Sharpstown Mall off of Bel Air, in the Fondren, Gessner area. And it's just like all the malls I grew up going to were wrapped into one, which is super significant to the transits of the week that I'll talk about in a second. And I'm preparing for a hassle. First off, I'm plus size. So I know I'm going to be looking for a store that has plus size options. And I feel like I'm not going to be able to find one, or it's going to be few and far between, because plus size don't ever be having like the things. We can't just go into any store and find something. We really got a plan for. But I really wanted something new. I wanted something black. I wanted something sexy. I wanted something to hide all of these, all of the stuff that happens after you then birth 3 babies. So, I I get Issa, I beeline into the mall. Run in there, and the mall is like, of course, there's not really a lot of people there. There's a few people there, but there's not a lot of people. And it was just so weird. Even how I felt in the dream was really, really weird. I saw people working at this little deli, which reminded me of a grocery store I grew up going to called Oshan. In the mall, I just seen so many things from my childhood. I saw this security guard. He was asking me if I needed help, and I'm like, I'm looking for Foley's. Like Foley's, this like that's an old store. So I'm like, I know Foley's gonna have a plus size section. I don't know why I thought about that. So I'm looking for Foley's. The mall is like half torn down, half stuff from my childhood. It's crazy. Next thing I know, I'm like in back hallways of the mall, the service exits and entrances of the mall. I'm in air ducts. I'm looking for the stores. I can't find them. Then I end up in a Target and I'm looking at these bell bottoms that was actually kind of cute, but they only had like size 10s and like 7s and shit. And I was like, okay, I can't do nothing with this. So I leave Target. I see this sign for this plus size store. It looks really posh. They got on all black. They have like models on it. So I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Torrid. So I finally found that store, went in. The women were so sweet. They were greeting me. They were greeting Issa. They was like, oh, you look so cute. But they had like 3 shirts in the store, and the shirts was like $80. Baby, I was balling on the budget. I don't got $80 for no shirt. So I was like, "Okay, well, thank you." And they was like, "Okay, well, maybe come see us again." So whatever, I leave, and I'm just going in circles at this point. Like, so I go into this other part of the mall and I run into my cousin Dee Dee. And Dee Dee has her scrubs on. Dee Dee is a doctor. She's my baby cousin. She's not a baby anymore. She just had her own baby. But anyways, so I run into Dee Dee. Dee Dee was like, "What you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm looking for this store." And she's like, "Okay, let me help you." And so by this time, Issa's getting squirrely. So Dee Dee loves kids and she's so good with Issa. And so, she's playing with Issa. And then we go into this one section of the mall that looked like all of the arcades that I've been to in my childhood. It looked like Celebration Station mixed with Funplex. And I just felt nostalgic. I was like, oh my God, now I actually dream about this area or this space in time often. But anyways, all the lights were off. The animatronics was just, dead. And, it was just weird. It's starting to feel like a nightmare. So Dee Dee was like, "You have to go up this escalator right here," and the escalator looked like it belonged to one of the malls I used to go to, of course, probably Sharpstown, and it wasn't working, so I was like, "Okay," and it was like a dim light at the top of the escalator, so me and Issa go up the escalator. Dee Dee said, "I gotta go," and I was like, "Okay, thanks, Dee Dee, love you." So we go up the escalator, and it's just like more darkness, and there was one like man and his son kind of walking ahead of us, and then my cousin Ella is like jogging in the mall. She's very big on health and fitness and stuff. And she's like, AOB. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And so she was just like, what y'all doing? What you looking for? I'm like, man, James is taking me on a date, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to find this store. And she was like, oh, you just gotta keep going that way. And I was just like, oh, okay. And so she's like, all right, well, I gotta run. And so she left. Then me and Issa were trying to walk straight like we were going, and then the floor turned into trampoline floor. It was like all wobbly and stuff. So Issa was laughing. I'm like, we got to get to the place. I got to go. Come on, stop playing. And so the man was walking past us, coming towards us. And so, he was like, he told his son, who was Issa's age, help her get back to her mom. And he did. And so I'm like, Issa, we have to go. We end up going to this little light, and the store was closed. It was like closed down because Foley's don't exist no more. So we end up there was this like side door with stairs, like you know how you got to take like the side stairs when the elevators is broke, whatever. So we took those stairs, and then we seen a light that said dealers. So it's like, oh my God, dealers! I know they're gonna have something for me. So we walk up to the dealers. Now, when I tell you the dealers look like it was at the border of Texas and Mexico, you know how if you ever cross the border, you see all of these stations and these troopers, and it was like construction in places, and motherfuckers was just taking, you know, people blood samples and IDs and shit. And I'm like, damn, they're getting the Dillards. So, we in line, and it's a man, he got a white tracksuit on. I don't know. I have some vivid dreams. He was standing in front of us. So then the lady calls us. And it's this black lady, and I feel like I seen her before. I think she on some type of show or something like that. Anyway, she was just like, "Hey, Brandy, how you doing?" And I was just like, "How you know my name?" And she was like, "Oh, we got this new technology. As soon as you walk within feet of the entrance of the store, your whole identification and background history pops up." And I was like, "Damn, y'all really want to make sure nobody don't steal. Y'all trying to conserve all y'all inventory, huh?" And she was like, "We got to do what we got to do." So I'm like, "All right." So they let me in because I ain't had no priors and I don't steal. So I went in, right? And then by the way, she hollered back at me. She's like, "Hey, the plus size section is upstairs, up the escalator." I'm like, "Damn, that's crazy how she knew that." So I go upstairs and I see the plus size sign and ain't no damn clothes. It's an excavator. The shit is under construction. When I tell you that was crazy. In the meantime, though, I'm like, I can't find no outfit. James calls me. He's like, "Hey, guess what? My brother want me to come early because he want to check out my outfit for the night." And I'm like, uh, okay. He was like, so I'm finna go now. I said, well, how am I gonna get there? So he kind of paused. He's like, shit, I don't know. Maybe your mama could take you. And I'm telling y'all, in the dream, I could feel my blood. Right, I was pissed off. My mama, or he's like, or maybe you can drive. All right, well, I gotta go. And I can't see well in the dark. So I'm like, how is this a double date? And I'm about to drive myself. I am so mad. I'm furious. I can't find it nowhere. I'm just like, man, at this point, I'm like an hour, late from being home, and I need to go home because in the dream I had like 5 kids. And some of these kids I ain't even met yet. So I'm all sad. I'm like, man, I got kids I don't even know about, just crazy shit. So I go home because I'm finna get ready for the the thing. And my mom was like, I mean, how long you finna be gone? Because I ain't finna watch kids all night. It's crazy shit. So I am looking for clothes and I'm all sad and I'm actually in my home, my childhood bedroom. So I'm at my mom's house and it's not my house. And so all my kids asleep. One of my kids, got a like some type of big deformed head. And I'm like, damn, I don't even know you little kid. So anyway, they sleep. My dog's asleep. Everybody's good. I am looking for clothes, but James happens to still be there. And he was just like, hey, come with me to such and such house real quick, which is supposed to be like one of our mutual friends. I don't even know the person who it was. So we go over there and they are having a paint party. And I'm kind of like, what are we doing? I thought we was going on a date. Like, what's happening? And they were painting like these miniature globes. Like they had like these styrofoam balls and they were painting little miniature depictions of the world. And so, there was one girl who in the dream, I didn't know who she was, but I knew that she was kind of like a friend of me type vibe. Like I didn't really like her like that. And so she kind of side eyed me and I was just like, I don't care. So the girl who was our friend who hosted the party was like, man, y'all, this is Brandy. She is such a good painter. And I'm like, no, I ain't. They were like, "Oh man, she paints so good," and I'm like, I don't, I know how to paint, but like, I mean, why is she trying to gas it up?" So, anyways, they was like, "Oh, okay, nice to meet you, Brandy," and I'm like, "Okay." So somebody throws me a ball. Next thing I know, I got a ball in my hand. I'm trying to see about why my husband not taking me to the damn double date. So I started painting, and I was painting, y'all. I was up here doing the Picasso with the little ball. I'm like, God damn, I really shit, I am good. And so they was like, look at it, I told you. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. They was like, man, you such a good painter. You really know how to paint the world. You paint the world, really nicely. And I'm like, thank you. And so, but I'm just like, whatever, I'm feeling salty because this fool ain't taking me with him. So he was just like, well, I'm about to go. So this other couple walks in. It's like, hey, Brandy. And I'm like, hey, we was friends too, but I don't know these people. And I was like, James, you're really not going to take me to the thing? He's like, I got to go. I told my brother I was going to be there like in a few minutes and you're not even ready. And so the other couple was like, well, where are you trying to go? And I was like, man, somewhere off 288, which is not close to me. And so they were like, well, we live right by there. We'll take you. And I was like, well, I'm not dressed. And they said, well, just go home and get dressed and we'll come in 20 minutes. And I'm like, James, can you take me home? And he just rolled his eyes like, I guess. So like, let's just side note right here. My husband, James, would not ever, as long as he got breath in his body, have me ride with nobody else. He would not ever leave me and have me trying to find a way, nor would he ever feel reluctant to take me anywhere, do anything for me. So clearly, this is a dream. Okay. So we get in the car and then the dream is over. So I wake up and I feel the activation in my body. I feel that I'm actually mad in real life. And I'm feeling like a lot of different ways. And so then I kind of think about the dream and I start to think about the transits and what they are for the week, which is what I do often Sunday mornings. I wake up and the first thing I do is I meditate about the transits of the week. And then I felt a profound synchronicity like, man, my dream is connected to the transits of the week. And I want to tell you guys about how this dream kind of layers into the transit that I just spoke about. So, Mercury in Sagittarius is the energy of the storyteller. It is the quester, it's the sage, it's the wise person, but this is a person who tells stories by the campfire, right? And people are listening, and sometimes they tell tall tales, but this ain't what this is. None of this was fabricated. So, that was pretty profound to me that I'm even telling y'all a story when Mercury is going into Sag this week. It's so Mercury and Sag coded. And then Mercury represents how we communicate our thoughts, our mindsets, right? That's Mercury. And our mindsets shape the things that we believe in the ways that we see the world, which is Jupiter. And so I was having this dream and I had this mindset. I was triggered in the dream because James wouldn't take me to the double date. And it activated a trigger inside of me that said, nobody cares about me. Nobody prioritizes me. I'm nobody's favorite. Right. So our mindsets will also shape the things that we're motivated to pursue or dig into, which is Mars, and digging into something or going deep and excavating things is Scorpio. Scorpio also deals with things that are hidden, or sometimes it could be things that are in liminal spaces. And me searching for something in a mall that was empty, that was, that had all of these back hallways and these air ducts meant some things that maybe you can relate to. And there were things coming from deep within me in hidden spaces, in air ducts and back halls about my mindset. And perhaps I was looking into certain thoughts and stories and memories that have shaped my mindset, which is Mercury retrograde. It's about going back to review mindsets and to revisit some things. Well, Mercury in Sagittarius is being ruled by Jupiter, which is in Cancer. And so I was looking at stories and having experiences from my past childhood experiences. Cancer also deals with family. So I'm seeing people in my family. Cancer can be the mother too. So I'm interacting with my mother in a dream and I'm seeing my cousins on my maternal side, which I think is so profound. And if I've been doing shadow work like I say I've been doing, what I'm noticing is that there are mindsets and stories that I'm wanting to break down or that are breaking down for me, which is Pluto and Aquarius. And what I realize is that in this dream, even upon waking, I was fixated on the trigger, Chiron, the trigger that I'm not enough, that I needed to wear something new, because my sense of self was on display and it needed to be better. Chiron retrograde in Aries. I was mad at my husband, and the story in my mind was that he didn't care, he didn't prioritize me, he didn't put me first, which makes a lot of sense that it would be him, even though that's not how he is, because it's often our intimate partners and our closest bonds that trigger us because they're the ones holding the mirror to all the narratives that could be running in the background and the hidden, repressed, or forgotten things that we have tucked away in these debilitated malls that lie deep inside of our psyche. And it wasn't until I held the dream and the memory of the dream and looked a little deeper into the dream pieces that I realized that there were so many people in the dream who showed up to acknowledge me, to support me, to help with Issa. There was my partner creating opportunities for romance and joy. There were people who were assisting me and pointing me into the right directions when I felt lost on that journey in the mall. People who were affirming me and telling me things about myself that I didn't even know and I didn't even see. And really taking the time to acknowledge and recognize me. There were people seeing me in that dream, just like there are people seeing me in real life. Cool story, B. So, like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything that, we're talking about? Well, so what I think is happening is that we're being brought back to our pasts, Jupiter and Cancer, to look at some of the stories that have happened over the years, and some of them are valid. The way we feel and the reasons why we feel this way is really valid. But over time, these valid stories that happened to us started to shape our mindsets overall, which is Mercury and Sagittarius, our overall perspective of other people, maybe of all people, of how we need to interact with people. And they start to shape the things that we are kind of primed to look for. Like if I tell you to look for a red car, and you start seeing red cars, it's not because the universe is putting more red cars right there. It's because you've just primed your brain to look for those things. So for some of us, these mindset stories are crumbling as we start to dig more into the psyche and do shadow work. Pluto in Aquarius. And if we have the courage to really look at ourselves and look at the repressed hidden parts of us, all the things in Scorpio, Mercury, Mars, Venus is about to go into Scorpio. This is taking a deep look at all the repressed hidden stuff. If we have the courage to dig through that rubble of these crumbling stories, we can extract healing, which is Chiron and Aries, healing of the sense of self, putting all the pieces back together, the broken parts of us, the parts that we don't want to face, the parts that feel like such and such, like our moms, like our dads, that we've, condemned, but now we're realizing those parts of them that we don't like are also inside of us. And if we can extract the healing and have the wisdom and the discipline to see through the illusions that we have been deceiving ourselves with, and the willingness to dissolve these old stories so that we can create new ones, which is Neptune and Saturn retrograde in Pisces and what they're doing in this water trine, we may begin to recognize that we have always been worthy and that we didn't need external validation and that we don't need protection from other people because we are our own safe space. We are worthy as the day we came into this world naked, and we have always been carried. And even if it wasn't the people who we really needed to support us, like our parents, people we were in relationship with, ex-spouses, even if it wasn't them, can we recognize that there were always people in position that were supporting us? If it was your professor, if it was somebody you worked with, the lunch lady, somebody was always in position. And can we notice that we didn't just get it out the mud? We all need community and connection. We just have to find our people, which is also Pluto in Aquarius. And that even though we've been to rock bottom, many of us, there was always something in the divine that carried us, something that didn't make sense just happened to work out. That's what this whole journey and this quest is about. If we train our brains to notice the support, we may begin to notice that we're already in the orange, in the sweet spot of life. The good and the bad are both conspiring to put us on our highest, most authentic path. So I hope y'all stayed and listened to that crazy ass story and that dream. Y'all gonna buy my book when I write it? Y'all gonna buy it? Okay. Well, that's all I have for this week, guys. May we remember and honor all the people who love us, who supported us. Give them more mind space this week than the people who don't, because we're gonna be great anyway, because we got our own backs. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast.